Hello friends, it is Chelsea and welcome on back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my new reading journal. So if you'll recall, I think it was like a month or so ago, I had marked in my planner that I completely destroyed my reading journal. I was able to get a new one and I have redone it. So I thought I would do a flip through. We have kept this one very simple, very minimal. Well, I won't say very minimal, but more minimal than the other one was for sure. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to get my reading journal out. I'm going to flip through the pages. I will talk about where stuff is from. And yeah, I'll just give you guys an overview of the year so far. And hopefully I can keep this up. I probably won't film a monthly update from here on out, but maybe we can work something out where I update every couple of months or so. Or I might just do like a 3-month update. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Let's get started. Okay, so this is the reading journal. It is a Zen Art Supplies reading journal. I bought this from Amazon. I went with a basic journal just because this thing is getting quite abused so far. I'm hoping I have enough room to contain my entire 2026 reading journal in here. We shall see. I think this was like 20 bucks on Amazon. If I remember, I will link it in the description for you. So it's got this lovely like teal blue cover to it, and then it has this beautiful, I think this was called Kitsune, which if I remember correctly is fox in either Chinese or Japanese, some East Asian language. So this is what the edges look like. Obviously less busy, but I freaking love this. I had thought originally about like putting something in here, but I just decided not to. I did glue several of the pages together just to kind of reinforce this seam, as well as I didn't really need, there was like an index. You can kind of see it in there. There's an index page or several index pages. I don't need them. This journal is numbered, but I'm not really paying attention to the numbers because there's nothing in here that I'm like, that I feel is difficult to flip to. So this is the inner pages, and then we jump right in. So the majority of my base pages have from Scribble Prints Co. It was the Books and Blooms. Books and Blooms reading journal kit. So you'll see that throughout. And then this page, what I decided to do was add deco from each of the months. So this is going to be a mixture of both the base spreads as well as individually, like every single month. So the Books and Blooms reading journal kit is from Scribble Prints Co. The letters I actually print and cut myself. So unless I specify otherwise, the letters that you see, like these individual letters specifically, I print and cut myself. So we jump right into my keys. So again, you're seeing elements of that Books and Blooms kit throughout. Those are letters that I cut out myself. These books are books that I made for myself as well. Was at one point thinking of redoing this page, but I really don't need it anymore. I've kind of got my key figured out in my head enough to where I don't need to reference this super often. It is here just in case, but I don't really reference it a lot. And then this sticker and this sticker came from Scribble Prints Co. because I can draw this, but I don't want to. So this is where I keep track of any day that I finish a book. It gets a dot. And then over here on the side, I just have my running totals for the months. And then I have my Goodreads goal. This page looks a little rough because when I laid these down originally, I had misnumbered some of the book titles. And so I had to move every single one of them except for these 3. So this page looks a little rough, but this is my goal for the year, 75 books. Conveniently, it fit right on this page. So that's the goal. And then so last year I was keeping track, my goal page, I was keeping track specifically of the format of the book. I decided to not do that anymore, and I'm literally just tracking it by the rating. I have the formats listed in my review pages. So if I really need to know what format I read a book, I pretty much know what it is already. So this fortunately fit onto a just facing spread. My stash tracker did not, so I had to do like a little Dutch door situation. And again, you're seeing elements of that Books and Blooms kit throughout. I tried to add as much of it as possible. I think I cleaned off the sheets other than maybe some of the small deco, but all the big deco is gone. And this is, so if you don't know, at the end of 2024, I went through and wrapped up every single book that I owned. And I wrapped it up in like wrapping paper, like it was Christmas time, so I had tons of Christmas wrapping paper, and then I bought just any wrapping paper I could get my hands on that was not overly priced, because I'm like, I'm literally just like, I'm wasting it. It feels like a waste, but it is what it is. And then anytime I finish a physical book, so these again are the ratings, and I just fill them in with the star rating of the book. So throughout the month, throughout the year, my goal is on my monthly dashboard pages, I guess you would call it. I am keeping track of how many, like my stash takedown basically is what I'm calling it. And I'm keeping track of how many books from my stash I read for the month and how many books from my stash I read for the year. So my goal is to get this down as low as possible. Right now it is the middle of April and we're not doing so well, but that's okay. We're reading, we're trying. Things are, I don't know, I've been like struggling with my reading the last couple of months. I did really well, as you can see. I did really well in January, and then February I started just kind of dropping off after that. So we're trying. I feel like even if I read 1 or 2 books a month, I'm still doing better than some people, and that's okay. Some people don't like to read, and that's okay. Here I am keeping track of my books read. This spread I should have done either a Dutch door or like a double, like 2-page spread, because I'm not going to have enough room. Like, I can tell right now I'm not going to have enough room. This is my list up for March, until March. This is January, February, and March. I'm not going to have enough room for all of this. So all of these, basically, I've put the title. I started putting the authors in here, and it just, like, I didn't have enough room. So I just literally have the title. Again, all of this information is tracked on my review pages. So if I really need the information, it's right there. But I just keep track of the day I start the book and the day I finish the book. And this is literally just, like, these are in order of when I finish them. They're not in order of when I start them or anything like that. So, and then I have my alphabet tracker as well as my rainbow tracker. My original plan was to print covers to cover these up, but right now I'm happy with leaving them plain. My A to Z tracker, I am tracking both the titles of the books and the author by their first name. So for example, and I don't count like the A, stuff like that. Like I don't track that. So for example, A is the Apocalypse 7, and then author was Ann Tyler. So I'm, like I said, keeping track of authors by their first name. We're not doing super great with this, but I am not a person that like seeks out a book specifically to fulfill a prompt or fulfill a goal, which is why I don't do a ton of like reading challenges. This is more like just for fun. This is for fun. My genre and my state trackers for fun. Like I don't really do any of this as a competitive like completionist project, because I'm a mood reader. I don't read based, like I said, to fulfill a prompt or whatever. So there is my my A to Z tracker, and then I do have my series tracker. These I made in Canva, and I just print them out on sticker paper and cut them out. I'm really not sure. I have like series, like I've started the Expanse series, but I want to reread the book because I've only read the first one and I don't remember anything about it. I do have Fourth Wing, so I would like to read the Empyrean series. I started a new series this year called The System Apocalypse. I read the first one. It was amazing. I want to continue, but again, it's not something I'm seeking out. Expeditionary Force, I have the first 3 books, and my friend was like, you need to listen to them on audiobooks, so now I've got to deal with that. The Murderbot Diaries, I want to read this series. The Dresden Files, I read the first one. I've read it twice now. I want to continue the series. Middle Earth, I have read The Fellowship of the Ring, but it was like 10 plus years ago, I'll admit. So I would love to reread this series. And then I also have the Court of Thorns and Roses series because I think I have the first 3 books in that series. Would like to read that series as well. This, I don't know. I feel like I'm not picking a book to fill a space. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'll just pick up a book from this series tracker and start reading it. I just don't do that. I don't know. Genre tracker, I've started tracking any genre that the book relates to. So for example, if it's a mystery and a fiction, I'm going to color in a mystery and a fiction because there's no way in hell I'm going to read enough books to fill any of these spaces. These are something I made for myself, again, in Canva. I had originally made like a mini calendar and then I just added rows to it, basically. So, and this again corresponds, anything that you see colored in is related to the rating of the book. States tracker, we're doing pretty good on the East Coast. The West Coast is not getting a lot of attention, but that's okay. Again, I'm not reading a book to fulfill a prompt. Book bingo, something that I had regretted last year was not giving myself space to put in the title of the book that corresponded with the prompt that I colored in. So that's what I did this year. This side, obviously the prompts. This side is the books that I chose to fulfill these prompts. And again, we're coloring these in based on the star rating that I gave the book. So. And then we have my monthly favorites. So of course, these we are printing out. I designed these little books in Silhouette Studio and I just print and cut them for myself. So I have the files. All I do is I copy and paste the cover of the book from Goodreads, and then I just size it to fit in these boxes, print them out, cut them around the edges, and slap them in there. That's all I do. I don't do anything fancy with that. And then we have game night trackers. So this is, of course, where I am tracking game nights. These are both game nights with friends and game nights by myself. I do play games by myself because nobody in my house wants to play. And that's why I buy solo games, because I have the ability to play games by myself. Like a solo game, a game that has a solo mode allows me to play a game by myself. I know it sounds dumb to like reiterate that, but that's just how it is. This deco came from Scribble Prints Co. This was a gamer sheet, board game sheet. I don't remember what the deco sheet was called. If I remember, I will link it down below. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I missed. Oh, the state, the U.S. I bought this from Scribble Prints Co. because I was like, there's no effing way that I am you know how hard it is to find a map of the United States? Oh my God, it's ridiculous. Especially a decent one. And it was kids cut for me and I didn't have to do anything except pay some money and wait for it to arrive. So yes, game night. I put in results. Sometimes I just don't remember the results. And obviously if I'm playing a solo game, other than keeping track of my score, who cares? So yeah. I also have, so this is for stuff that I purchased. So these barcodes came from Scribble Prints Co. I think the sheet was literally just called barcodes. And again, this is more of the same sheet of deco from Scribble Prints Co. So these are the books that I bought. I really am trying not to buy a ton of books. I have so many books that I need, like physical books that I need to read. And so I've been trying not to. I've bought 5 books this year so far. And we're in the middle of April. I might buy myself a couple just for my birthday or whatever. But other than that, I really just shouldn't buy any books unless I really want to, unless I just really can't help myself. Games, however, is a problem. I've been buying games. So I marked down the date that I buy the game. I marked if I've played the game or not. Scythe, I will admit, was a game that it was $35 at Half Price Books. This game, base game, sells for $80 on the Stonemaier website. I couldn't pass it up. Waste of Parts was delivered, that I bought from Kickstarter, so I did mark, I marked the day it was delivered basically, but I did mark that it was a Kickstarter game, so I'm not tracking specifically any new games that I back on Kickstarter. I might, I have another sheet for that, but this is literally just for me to track the games that I bought. And like I said, this game got delivered, but I backed it on Kickstarter like last year sometime, so yeah. Okay, now we bump right into my monthly spreads. So I have a dashboard page here. The nice thing is Scribble Prints Co. sells these A5 sheets of paper. They're sticky paper, so this made a perfect background. And then I just have these little watercolor swatches. Now I did buy, this was a file that I bought from a shop on Etsy. If I remember, I will link it down below. But Scribble Prints Co. does sell watercolor swatch stickers for her reading journal kits, and I got smart, and some of the other journaling kits that I have from Scribble Prints Co. in the future are I bought the watercolor swatches for them, so we'll have them, because I was like, I don't need them, and now I'm like, yes I do, because this is where I'm kind of tracking some stuff. So I've got total pages read, my stash takedown. Like I said, I'm marking the number of physical books from my collection that I read for the month, and then the year in total, or the total for the year. This includes, so this number includes every book from my stash, from this original 301, every book. And obviously I read one physical book in the month of January, or one physical book for my collection for the month of January, bringing my total from that 301 up to 14. So that's where that number's coming from. This includes this number right here, plus any books that I've read previous to 2026. So I read 13 of my physical books last year, and I bumped myself up to 14 this month. My average rating, funny story, my average rating for January, February, and March, 3.2. So we're just saying. My favorite, now, this goes based on both star rating and vibes. Okay, so if there was another book that got a lower star rating than this particular book, but I felt like I liked it more, I would totally have put that as my favorite book. However, this book, based on all of the other books that I read, this one was my favorite. So, Swept Away by Beth O'Leary, ? Yeah, Beth O'Leary. Books bought, I bought I, Medusa, which is by, is it Anya Gray? I don't remember now. My least favorite was The Unhoneymooners, and I read a total of 11 books. So I have my monthly calendar here. I mark from the time that I started the book to the time that I ended the book. Now, some of these books, I can tell you right now, Finlay Donovan is killing it. This was an audiobook. I did not listen to this book for a week straight. I didn't listen to it every day. I don't touch my books every single day. I try to, but it just doesn't happen sometimes. So just because I've marked that I worked on a book for a certain period of time doesn't necessarily mean that I read it every single day. I don't keep track of what books I've read and what days I've read them. I just don't do that. Or like, obviously I'm tracking the books that I've read, but like I don't track, okay, Monday I read blah 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 pages of this book, but I didn't touch this book. And then, I don't keep track of that stuff. And then of course I've got some fun deco. So anything that you see, like deco wise, these papers, this background, like all of that is from Scribble Prints Co. This I made for myself. This I made for myself in Canva. These I bought a file. Like I said, if I remember, I'll try to link it down below. I'm trying to link as much as I can down below. But these are actually a printable file, and I literally just sent it to cut on my Silhouette Studio. That's all I did there. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, I will never give spoilers in the summary section because I do post my summaries on Goodreads. However, there may be some mild spoilers, and I usually do indicate spoiler alert in my reviews. Because again, I post these on Goodreads and I post my reviews on Storygraph. So You follow me on either place if you want to see what I'm reading in real time. Otherwise, this is my, I made this template for myself on Canva, and I just keep copying and pasting it. I have this sized, like, I did kind of adjust this for future. So yeah, so here in March, you can see these fit way better on the page. I sized them down, but these ones are like, I made this an A5 size piece of paper, or an A5 sheet, A5 size sheet. But these so for March, I sized them down a little bit so that they fit better on the sheet, and I was able to add some more deco to those. So for January, my kit that I used was the grunge, like the 90s grunge kit. And then, like I said, spoiler, like I said, if you want to pause and read my reviews, I do have all of these reviews on Goodreads, and Storygraph. The summaries are not on Storygraph, but the reviews are. But if you want to pause, usually I will say, spoiler alert, when I put a mild spoiler in a review. So, like right here. Spoiler! Goes off without a hitch. Sorry if that ruined something for you, but yeah. And then, of course, I had some extra space. Now, last year what I did was I created like a quote section. I just decided I had extra deco. I always have extra deco. So I just decided to add some deco. And I think it looks really good. I think it looks pretty cute. So, yeah. February, this was a kit from Planner Choco. This is a printable kit. This I had to resize to fit an A5 sheet, but that's okay. And then Planner Choco has some like little bits or whatever, so I did use those for my reviews. So for my overview, I guess. So my favorite book was Life in the North. I read 3,203 pages. Average rating, again, 3.2. I bought Stolen Midnights and Dungeon Crawler Carl. I read 9 books. Read 2 from my stash for the month, bringing my yearly total to 16, or my cumulative total to 16, and my least favorite book was Spells of Blood and Kin. So this is an example of so Valentine's in an Apocalypse and Swept Away both had a 4-star rating. However, Valentine's in an Apocalypse is a short story, so we went with vibes. And again, like I said, just because I marked that I read a book from a certain day to a certain day doesn't mean I touched it every single day. Because some of these books, it's like I wouldn't have had to read them nearly as long as I marked if I just picked the damn thing up and read it. So, and again, no spoilers in the summaries, but there could be some minor spoilers or major spoilers in the reviews. So, read at your own risk. I finally got to read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It made me so happy. And then I also decided, so I did have a little extra space here. Last year I would have like made a full page decorative spread and just like started March on a double page. I decided not to do that this year. We are literally just going to have it like this. So if a month happens to end, and then we have like an even page that needs to be the dashboard for the month, the next month, and so be it. I don't care. Total pages read for March was 1,992. My favorite book was Lucky You. That was by Carl Hyacin. My least favorite book was The Compound. I read 3 from my stash, bringing my cumulative total to 19. I read 6 books in March. My average rating, again, 3.2. And I bought Red Rising and Project Hail Mary. I've read both of those books before, but I don't remember anything about them, and I really want to watch Project Hail Mary. So I was like, you need to reread the book. But the problem is, it's a new book, which means I can't touch the new book until I finish some of my old books. So anyways, we have my March calendar, and then we have my review pages. So yeah, March was not a great reading month. I think April's going to kind of end up being not a great reading month either, but that's okay. So this is a journaling kit from Leonard Designs. So her kits actually come with 2 papers. So I added one over here and then just put one as the background for the other side of the dashboard. And then I'm not sure, I may end up having to use some more of my like print and cut watercolor swatches like I had for January. Some of these for my April spreads, but we'll see. I might come up with something else. But yeah, so that's that so far, and then I just don't have anything else in here. So that is the end of the reading journal flip through. I will, like I said, try to link anything I can down in the description box below, but if I forget something, let me know in the comments and I will get those links updated for you. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, let me know. And until I see you next time, bye-bye.